The Cardiff Gazette on Express Radio.
Welcome back. That was Dot Rotten with Keep It On a Low, and you are listening to Lucy and Grace on Express Radio this Thursday afternoon. It's now time for our weekly feature. This week we're going to be covering living the student lifestyle but on a budget. I don't know whether you're feeling the pinch yet, but I certainly am. Grace, what about you?
Yeah, definitely. I've been having to take extra shifts on at work, which is really sucks, but yeah, definitely.
Because, you always think, when you get all your money in your bank balance at the beginning of term, you're like, oh my God, I'm so rich, I've never been so rich in all my life. And then all of a sudden, it's all gone on rent and bills and stuff that you actually have to buy.
Yeah.
But anyway, today Grace and I are going to be bringing you a few tips on how to make the most of that shoestring budget. First up, and probably the most important of all, do not under any circumstances use your card, especially on a night out. After a few drinks, a plastic card seems like so much better than real money. In fact, it feels like everything is free. But to add to your headache in the morning, you'll find that bank balance is very much in the red. Any experience? Because I've been there.
Yes, I've been there too. I think everyone's been there. In fact, I've tried to stop taking my card out on nights out altogether now, because it's just very dangerous. But I usually take about 20 quid or whatever out and try to stick to that.
Yeah.
But it's always important, I think, to make sure that you've got enough money left over at the end of the night, just in case you need to get a taxi home, just so you're safe, in case you lose all your friends, which I always do.
Or your shoes have been rubbing and
exactly.
I can't walk anymore.
Yeah, so I think that's really important. But yeah, taking your card on nights out is a really bad idea.
Definitely.
So you could just buy everyone drinks.
So I think our number one tip is to take money out that you've budgeted for that week. I mean, don't just take it out for nights out. Take out, say you've got £50 for the week, take that £50 out and try to stick to that £50. Because trust me when I say, although it seems like you're not spending money at all when you use your card, you end up spending so much more than you ever thought you would do. I always think, when you pay for stuff on card, you ought to say, oh, it's £4.24, I'll remember that, and then you round it down to £4, and then it's £4 here and £3.72 here, and then you round it all up, and then you look at your bank balance, you're like, oh my God, what have I spent my money on? And have a minor panic attack, maybe accompanied by a bit of hyperventilation. Now, tip number 2, vouchers. Sign up to voucher websites like Groupon and KGB Deals, who have some great deals for in and around Cardiff. I had an email the other day from KGB Deals, I believe, with vouchers for Solo, the new bar which is opening in Cardiff this Wednesday. They are offering 4 cocktails for £8. Yeah, you heard, £8, bargain! So if you fancy a sophisticated evening of cocktails, sign up to KGB Deals and head down to Solo this coming Wednesday. But there is a big warning that comes with this, and I say this because I have been there. Do not buy stuff you don't need just because it's 69% off or, any other kind of number. I am now stuck with a high-tech in-car Bluetooth phone thingy which I don't know how to use, and it's probably worth more than my car because I thought it was a bargain and it would come in useful. Grace, any disasters with vouchers?
Not as big as that. I don't think I've ever bought anything like that. Well, I don't have a car, so But yeah, I hate to say that I'm not the craftiest consumer around. When I'm food shopping, if I see something's been reduced or it's 2 for 1 or whatever, I'll be like, oh, that's a brilliant deal, and I'll buy it, even though it's probably 10p off or something, but it's still a great deal in my mind. Or I'll buy 2 for 1, and then the second thing always goes off in the fridge and I never eat it, and it's really bad. So the moral of the story there, I think, is only buy what you need to buy.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't be tempted.
You go into Tesco and it's oh my God, 3 bottles of milk for the price of 2. You're never going to drink 3 bottles of milk. That is the simple fact. Right, so we've covered not using the card and using vouchers. Now we're going to move on to our top tip number 3, pre-drink. There is nothing worse than a night out than paying to get into the club that costs £4 or something, and then blowing the rest of the night's budget on one £10 vodka double mixer, which, to be perfectly honest, is probably more mixer than it is vodka. Which brings me to a sideline point: never ever go to Oceana on a Saturday night. You will literally be bankrupt for the rest of your life. It is so expensive. Grace?
Not gonna lie, Oceana isn't really my thing anyway. I was unfortunate to be dragged there on a Saturday night once, a year ago or something, and not only were the drinks extortionately expensive, but it was full, and I mean full, of old pervy men.
Yeah,
it was
definitely.
horrible. Seriously, girls, it's not worth it. Don't go to Oceana on a Saturday. But yeah, pre-drinking is pretty much essential on nights out, especially when you're a student. I don't know about you, but I always drink the cheapest bottle of rosé I can get my hands on.
Spa have an excellent deal going on at the moment,
Oh,
guys.
really?
$2.99 for a bottle of wine. I'm not going to lie to you, it does taste like toilet cleaner, but it is $2.99.
But who cares? It's $2.99 and it gets you drunk, so
Yeah,
what's the problem?
Exactly. And, you know, Spa is definitely the place to go. Or maybe just I've got a shop next to my house called Just Off Licence. Just Off Licence. Doesn't have an actual name, but they've got some bargains in there. Some interesting looking cider. Never heard the brand before. I think it's called like taffy apple or something. Not toffee,
That sounds
taffy.
really appetising.
It's kind of brown.
What if it,
Not nice.
cider
but-
shouldn't be brown.
No, but I'd say maybe don't go to an off license where they sell stuff that you don't know what it is, because sometimes it is very interesting. So now we've got one top tip mainly for the girls now. Now, if any of you are like me and you love buying clothes, it just turns out that the student budget doesn't really support the purchasing of numerous items of clothing. I don't know if you found that out maybe soon enough, like at the beginning of the year, you think, oh my god, I've got so much money. All of a sudden, you know, you bought like 3 items of clothes. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. Now, there's always the charity shop option. Albany Road in Roath has an amazing array of charity shops that are definitely worth a peek, especially like for fancy dress and stuff like that. There's one shop, I don't know the name of it, but they sell like all of these like little costumes and stuff, like proper costumes that are great for fancy dress. But I am aware that sometimes charity shops do sell some, shall we say, interesting items, often maybe difficult to pull off. But there is another option. Have a look on eBay for sellers who sell, for example, Topshop or River Island or any of the high street stores. They sell products that don't necessarily meet the quality control checks. Often all it is like a coat is missing a button, or there's a small kind of mark on the fabric or something like that. Definitely nothing major, but they shave like 20 quid off the price just because it's slightly imperfect. So definitely some bargains on there. Or ASOS Marketplace, I bought a jumper off there the other day, £10, and it's really, really warm, which is perfect because we haven't got any heating on in our house. Not going to go into that just now, but I am absolutely freezing. It makes me kind of want to die a little bit inside, but that's a sideline point, and I don't want to go on to that. So I'd say the biggest tip we can get, and that's so basically all you want to do is just find these like bargain clothes and just anything like that, and you can save a lot of money, and you can probably be warm, because let's face it, if you buy something from Topshop or New Look or River Island, like probably a jumper isn't going to be warm. It'll look nice, but you will still be absolutely freezing. So, and we're going to move on to another tip now, which is buy Tesco value everything, right? Tesco value everything, like literally fruit, veg, bread, everything. It tastes practically the same, and it's so much cheaper. And to prove this to you, Grace and I have brought in a couple of products today. Grace is going to she's going to check them for you. Like she's going to be blindfolded. I'm going to blindfold you, Grace. I hope you're ready. And we're going to try out these products. I've got orange juice, bread, and biscuits. First up, we're going to start with the orange juice. Grace, you got your blindfold on?
Yep, my blindfold is firmly on. Can't see a thing.
This is orange juice number 1. Give that a try.
Okay.
What does it taste like?
Orangey.
Orangey, yeah. Nice, bad.
Well, I'm not really a big fan of orange juice anyway, but
Fair.
it's a little bit bitter maybe.
This is probably a fair point. And orange juice number 2.
Okay. I need something to cleanse my palate. Yeah, that one's got more bits in it, but it's a lot sweeter.
This is... Not sure what that sound was, but let's ignore that.
Oh, that was a laptop.
So which one did you like more? Orange juice number 1 or orange juice number 2?
I'm not sure. Maybe number 1 because it had less bits in it. I'm not a big fan of bits in orange juice.
So there we have it, guys. Number 1 was in fact the value orange juice. Number 2 was Tropicana orange original with juicy bits. So Grace doesn't like that, and it's too sweet apparently. So basically you want to get down to the, not the refrigerated aisle where the orange juice is kept, go down to the ones where you can buy the kind of ones that are in cartons. You don't have to refrigerate them, you can stock up, you can buy loads of them, and then you know, you don't have to buy it for weeks and weeks and weeks, which is fantastic, and it is, after all, one of your 5 a day. Now, moving on now to bread. Now, this is bread number 1. Take a little bite of that.
Okay.
How does that taste?
Bit dry. I think it needs some spread on it.
Maybe a little bit stale. I have had this bread for quite a while now.
I was going to say, well, I didn't really want to say anything, but yeah.
Okay, so that's bread number 1, and now we're going to move on to bread number 2. That one is probably more stale than the other one, so do bear this in mind when you're checking the taste of them.
Okay, I think we should go feed the ducks after this, Lucy.
Definitely. Get down to Roast Park Lake.
You can probably hear me chewing on the radio. Okay, there you go. Thank you very much.
Both the same or different?
I think number 2 tastes a lot nicer. I don't know why.
That's probably a good thing, because guess what? Number 2 is value. Number 1.
Oh, no way.
Number 1 is Hovis crunchy, crusty something. I'm not really sure what it is.
I would have said it was the other way around.
Well, basically, the Hovis one costs over £1. The Tesco value one is, I think, 47p, which is definitely a saving to be had there.
Bargain.
Definitely a bargain. Now, moving on to our final bit, and I do apologise that the chocolate on these biscuits has got breadcrumbs on it and also is a little bit melted, but I'm going to give you biscuit number 1. Try biscuit number 1. Kind of stale.
Very soggy.
I do apologise, they have been on top of the microwave. And
tastes a bit like cake, that one does.
I don't think it's supposed to. That probably just is because it's been on top of the microwave.
Okay.
Which one did you like more?
I reckon number 1 was nicer.
Yeah? Number 1 was in fact the digestive, so we have failed, I think, on this one.
Oh no, sorry.
That's alright. Pretend she said Tesco value. She said Tesco value.
I would go for the cheaper one though.
Yeah, no, I would too. Like, McVitie's probably is nicer, but we'll just ignore that, gloss over it, buy the value ones. Buy the value ones. They're much cheaper and they practically taste the same.
And then you'll have more money to spend on alcohol then.
Exactly. And your nights out, of course, which is always a good thing.
Definitely.
I do know, we're going to move on to our next point now, and I do know that sometimes cooking just doesn't sound like the favourable option. But there is a fantastic article in The Guardian this week, so do check it out. It's the top 10 cheap eats in Cardiff. I'd say, like, for me personally, my 3 favourites are the fail-safe Nando's, always a cheap option. There's a New York deli called Ramone's on Salisbury Road, which they do a lunch there. You get a massive, like, it's like a foot-tall burger, and you get this massive crate of chips, and it's like £3.50. It's an absolute bargain.
Wow, I need to go there.
You need to go there.
It's like
get on
next door to my house, and I haven't been yet.
You're a disgrace. You need to go there. It's amazing. And then Live Lounge. I wouldn't get anything like soup because they do use margarine on the bread, and I don't know how anyone feels about that, but I'm not a massive fan. Kind of tastes a bit ugh. But other than that, like, literally their menu is amazing, and you can get, it's like £3 to £4, I think, is the price range, and you get this massive meal, and it's fantastic. So if you're kind of just getting bored of the numerous cans of tins of beans and anything like that, just get down there and have a browse of their menu and get a meal there. So basically, that is our fail-safe guide to living the cheap student lifestyle. Now, I hope you've got some inspiration there, and I'm going to get another tune on for you. This is Got to Love You, featuring Alexis Jordan by Sean Paul, and you are listening to Lucy and Grace on Express Radio.
The Cardiff Gazette on Express Radio.